It's 12 minutes to 9 o'clock. They don't hand them out like lollies. It's pretty hard to sit in this chair. Antoinette Lattouf was asked to fill in for a week on the morning show at the ABC in Sydney. She was taken off air 3 days into a 5-day gig. The ABC says she was taken off air because of what she posted. The ABC says she was asked not to post anything on Instagram. Her case before the Fair Work Commission is effectively that she was taken off air because she's got Lebanese background, because of her views, and because of, I guess by implication, a sustained lobbying campaign against her. Josh Bornstein is the National Head of Employment Law for Maurice Blackburn, and he's Antoinette Lattouf's lawyer. Morning.
Good morning, Raf.
Why did you take on this case?
I act for employees in these sorts of situations all the time. You might recall the case of Scott McIntyre, who was sacked and had his career completely destroyed over tweets about Anzac Day. I act for employees in a range of situations, and I'm particularly passionate about the cancellation of employees' speech rights.
Why?
Because it's symptomatic, I think, of a huge shift in the labour market where power has been redistributed, and one of the results of that is very anti-democratic, which is the suppression of people's rights to participate in democracy. I mean, let me ask you a question before you start firing difficult questions at me. The weather presenter at the ABC, when they take that job, trade in their right to participate in democracy, to march in the streets, to join a political party, to post their political views on social media?
They don't, but if you're in this chair, especially mornings in Melbourne or Sydney, our impartiality is a bit, and our trust, it's a bit like a glass bottle, isn't it? Once it's gone, it's gone. So it's worth protecting, and I am very comfortable with having some pretty tight rules around what I can and can't say on social media.
The difficulty with that is that people who are even not on air on the ABC have been forced out of their jobs.
But let's talk about your current client, Antoinette Lattouf. There was a conversation, wasn't there, about probably better you don't post stuff. Like, that seems pretty cut and dry, doesn't it? Probably better you don't post. She posts, so she's taken off air.
There was a conversation in which it was conveyed that she was the subject of a fierce lobbying campaign, that the lobbyists were very unhappy that she was presenting, and she sought guidance about what she could and couldn't post. The only post that's in contention that the ABC hangs its hat on is to replicate what the ABC was reporting, that a human rights organisation was reporting that starvation was being used as a technique to advance the war. She did exactly what the ABC was doing on air, and she was sacked.
Her past's been brought into this. She did say, I think it was on Q&A, Israel Folau had to face consequences to his employment.
Yep.
Why should it? So she was comfortable with him facing consequences, losing his job. Why should it be different for her?
It shouldn't be different for her, as it shouldn't have been different for Israel Folau. I offended a lot of people at the time on my side of the political fence by saying what happened to Israel Folau was not right, and he ultimately enforced the law and got a settlement. So I can't comment about her previous views, but perhaps this experience has changed her views, and now she understands there are laws of the land which social media policies can't eviscerate, can't remove.
We don't know what you say about the complaints process. We don't know what the complaints involve. There's one set of texts from a group of lawyers that were clearly upset that she was on air. There's no evidence she was taken off air because of the lobbying.
The evidence is coming. We're in the very early stages of a legal process which will inevitably shine a very strong light into the complaints process.
How do you know that?
Because court-ordered discovery will be at the heart of this case. When you have discrimination cases, it's very rare for an employer to stand up and say, I'm sacking you because you're pregnant. I'm sacking you because you're gay. all discrimination cases are dependent on getting documents produced and then cross-examining witnesses about their evidence. This case will require all of the complaint documents, the complaints, the responses, the decision-making to be the subject of very careful scrutiny and production of documents.
Josh Bornstein is with us. He's Antoinette Lattouf's lawyer. Worth saying, the ABC put out a statement. In fact, I got it in my inbox. David Anderson's the managing director. They are adamant it's got nothing to do with Antoinette Lattouf's Lebanese heritage, nothing to do with her political views, and nothing to do with the lobbying or the people who are sort of trying to get her off air. Why are you so confident the complaints process is going to be what David Anderson has already said it is not?
I think the ABC's credibility is on the line here. The idea that Antoinette Lattouf was sacked because she made a post that replicated what was being already reported on the radio is incredible, defies belief. She was...
I've had some pretty strict instructions from time to time about what I can and can't
She
post.
didn't receive any strict instructions. However, the fig leaf that she was being sacked over a Human Rights Watch post is, I think, demonstrably flawed. Secondly, and this isn't well known at the moment, but the ABC's done another backflip in recent days. It now says it never sacked her. It's written to us. Last Monday, it filed a defence that said that she was terminated on the 20th of December, and a second space said the termination took effect immediately. 3 days later, the ABC's lawyers wrote to us and said, in fact, we're now going to argue there was no sacking, and therefore there's no case.
I think that is
It's a backflip.
I think that's an argument about legal jurisdiction. They are adamant that they've always maintained the same position, but I'm not going to prosecute that here and now. But I want to try and clarify, I guess. So you are saying that you are going to try and get in court everything about the complaints process.
Absolutely, because
so how do you just explain to me why you think you've got the right to that? Because I'm sure the ABC will say, well, it's got nothing to do with it, you can't have it. So on what basis do you seek that stuff?
When you prosecute these cases, you are dealing with an employer. This was the case in the Qantas situation. Qantas comes along and says, we didn't sack the workers for any discriminatory reason. We then seek discovery of all the documents relating to the decision. They produce a whole...
Do you always get them?
Yes, they produce a whole range of documents, and then we cross-examine their witnesses and we win the case. This is a discrimination case where, as I say, no one says, I'm sacking you because of your political opinion. That's just not done. They'll hide behind other reasons, and the truth is dependent on what's in writing often.
I'll take calls coming up after the 9 o'clock news. It's 1300 222 774. Is there any circumstance... I realise the law is not settled and this might help settle it. Is there any circumstance at the moment where they can say, no, don't post that, and then I do, therefore they can sack me? Like
There's a law in this country which says you can't sack someone because of your political opinion.
But there's a ton of protocols and policies in every organisation saying, please don't post.
Correct. So organisations throughout the labour market have been seeking to subvert the law and bluff their employees, and it works very well, into silencing them by saying, you're bound by social media policies. I get bombarded by people on Twitter saying she breached her contract, social media policies, blah, blah, blah. They don't pay any heed to the law of the land. You cannot contract out.
It might not be...
You cannot just dispose of the law of the land because you feel like it.
But you can ask people to come on board with the project of protecting the ABC's impartiality, can't you? That's legitimate, isn't it?
You can ask them to do that.
How you can say, this is what we're about, this is the way, we're the ones with the experience in this, we'd like you to do it this way.
We're the ones with experience in brand management, yes.
Not brand. That's a bit unfair.
No, it's not unfair.
I work very hard trying to protect the ABC's impartiality. People might not agree.
There is an argument for a very narrow group of employees who work in news and current affairs that their impartiality is really important. Beyond that small group, it's far more contested.
But she was in one of those positions.
No,
in that
she
week.
was.
In that week, she is.
She was on. No, she wasn't. She wasn't in news and current affairs. She was dealing with recipes for Christmas puddings. She wasn't breaking any hard news.
Josh, I tell you what, you're a better lawyer than me. I know this job much better than you do. I go from recipes to grilling the Prime Minister at the drop of the hat.
She wasn't grilling any Prime Minister.
I understand that. But the morning show in Melbourne and Sydney, there is no doubt protecting the impartiality of the ABC in those positions is incredibly important. There's no doubt about that.
That may be your view. I don't know that it's necessarily the right legal view.
Final quick point, 30 seconds or less. Would it have made any difference if she'd posted the ABC story on the Human Rights Watch report? Is there any distinction or difference there?
There was no distinction anyway. The stated reason is a fig leaf. That's pretty clear. There was no direction not to post.
Well, she was
sacked. Well, there wasn't. She was sacked ostensibly for that stated reason. It's not a credible reason.
When are you in court?
As soon as we get through all of the jurisdictional objections and the farce of pretending they didn't
legal
sack
arguments
her.
still. Okay,
yes.
So we don't know. I really appreciate you coming in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Josh Bornstein's the National Head of Employment Law at Maurice Blackburn. He's acting for Antoinette Lattouf. She was filling in on a show just like this one at the ABC in Sydney. I want to know what you think. We don't know what the court's going to decide. It's going to be in Fair Work Australia. What do you think it's about? Is it about the ABC protecting its turf, or is it about something much worse?